Good evening to our audience all over the world, whether you're listening live on Radio Sega or tuning in elsewhere. This week, the Sega guys are coming home. It's November, and you know what that means. It's time for an international football tournament just like we have every summer. What? In order to get us into the World Cup spirit, even though it's not quite the usual time of year, we've got a special show for you all, and I could only be joined by one man. The number 9 to my number 8, the Ali McCoys to my Paul Gascoigne. It's James the Segaholic. How you doing, mate?
Oh, I'm absolutely sensational. Absolutely sensational there, Dan. So it's very easy to do an Ali McCoy impression. You just talk as if you've lost your two front teeth and you just talk like that all the time.
I'm not even going to try doing a Paul Gascoigne impression. My Toon accent leaves a lot to be desired.
Mate, I don't think Paul Gascoigne can talk like Paul Gascoigne anymore.
I was torn between doing Ali McCoy and Gordon Drury, since both Gazza and Drury played for Spurs and Rangers.
Yes, a long, storied history of players. Richard Gough, Gordon Drury, Mark Falco, Alan Hutton, Graham Roberts, Paul Gascoigne, Pedro Mendes, all coming to mind.
Mendes. Yeah.
Mendes, who scored the goal that never was at Old Trafford.
Yeah. Gosh. I was raging for that one.
How did get away with that? Jesus.
I got away with absolute murder.
It's about that behind the line, mate. It's like...
It's the look on the cameras as well.
He runs when he kind of starts looking to see, mate, there's 60,000 people that have just seen it. It's like,
but not the line.
Everybody knows. Aye, well.
This is the days before VAR.
Aye, well, VAR. God, less said about that, the better. Will it recently head today?
Who knows? Could be a few contentious decisions. How you doing, though, mate? You all right?
Not bad, mate. Not bad. Just getting on with work and life and enjoying the joys of Twitter interaction again. My Takinobu Mitsuyoshi videos went mental, although not as mental as your bloody Yakuza video, man. That's...
I had to turn the notifications off.
Died.
Turn the notifications off. Turn the notifications off to about 10,000 likes. So it's just getting out of hand.
All because
Outrageous.
Kiryu kicked a man 50 feet in the air and he kept on spinning.
Well, people were linking their other videos to me. Like they'd done the same stuff, the same bug, and got like 2 likes. It's just Twitter's just there's just no science behind it. It's bizarre.
Nah, it's just right place, right time, isn't it? That's all it is.
Yeah. Other than that, the kids make me feel old today. So well, they do that anyway. But my youngest, Slime Rancher 2's come out, which is her second most anticipated game of the year behind Goat Simulator. But they're both next gen only. So she's like, I want them for Christmas. I was like, you can get them, but you can only play them on Daddy's Xbox. You can't play them on your old Xbox One. But why? I was like, well, to be fair, the Xbox One's older than you are. And my boy starts laughing, going, oh dear, is it that old? And she goes, I want to play on the other Xbox. You know, the white Xbox I had? I said, that's the Xbox 360. And my lad goes, that's even older than I am. And he's 15. He's 15 next month.
Oh my God.
And I was like, so Daddy, what Xbox are you is older than you? I was like, none. I'm older than all the Xboxes. And I was young. I was about your age when the first PlayStation came out. So I was like, well, what did you play? Sega.
Someone hit the pause button, please. Life is going too fast.
Yeah. God, 9 years old anyway. But yeah, what better way to celebrate the 2022 World Cup, mate, than to talk about some retro football games?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we've got something quite unique that we've had a lot of fun planning. Our WhatsApp messages to and fro planning this have been nothing short of entertaining. So I hope that you guys enjoy what we've come up with as much as we enjoyed planning it. What we have got is basically we have chosen between us 8 of the kind of what we thought would be the best games to pick across all Sega generations of hardware football games. And what we're going to do is we're going to pit them against each other in a knockout style World Cup tournament. But we're not just going to sit here and go, well, we've picked this game against that game. Oh no, we've come prepared. Dan?
Prepared is, well, this is the thing. This is completely unrehearsed in a way that we don't know what order these are going to come out in. We've got a draw. We don't know what game's going to start against what. There's no seeded ones. So all the games, we're going to be coming up with the results. As we go along. So yeah, we've got all the teams in a little cup here, and I'll start drawing them when you're ready, James, and we'll see who is playing who.
I feel like I should have like a UEFA background or something here. You know. So we will now commence the draw for the SEGAGuys World Cup 2022. Dan will draw the numbers for the teams 1 to 8, and James will read the names of the teams. So here we go.
Well, first one's falling out. And number 1. Oh, stupid bastard! Dan, I put these on post-it notes and folded them on the sticky side, so now they're hard to get open. Right. Number 3.
Sorry, mate. Even Clarence Seedorf couldn't get them at one point. Number 3, a big hitter out the hat first. It's FIFA International Soccer, and who could have foreseen in late 1993, when FIFA brought its cutting-edge isometric take on the beautiful game to the Mega Drive, that it would go on to become the global franchise that it is today.
Not me. It's like I said on the Mega Drive episode. I was saying to my brother, I wonder if they'll make another one.
And who will FIFA face off against?
Number 4.
Number 4. So FIFA has been drawn against the Mega Drive title Italia 90, known as World Championship Soccer outside of Europe, and Super Football 2 in Brazil, released in November of 1992.
Super Football 2. Now that's an interesting one. Yeah, it was Sega Lord X had it in a recent video of his, and the US version does look a lot more plain without the licensing, it must be said. But onto match number 2. So the first team out of the cup is number 1.
Number 1 is International Victory Goal. Developed by Team Akia, this Western launch title gave football fans the beautiful game they craved on their brand new Sega Saturn.
And they will be playing number 6.
Number 6 is UEFA Euro 96, developed by Gremlin Interactive. The reskin of Actua Soccer was a Saturn exclusive and the official game of the tournament, released on May 30th, 1996, with promotional material including big foam hands with the Sega Saturn logo on Euro 96. So, yep, it's a victory goal against Euro 96.
And that's the game that we've both got Gazza and Ali in. I don't think they're in any of the other ones, are they?
Hi.
Right. Game number 3, starting with number 7.
Number 7, it's a big hitter. It is one of the biggest football games of the 90s. It is, of course, Sensible Soccer, the Amiga classic, which came to the Mega Drive in November of 1993. Created by Sensible Software in the UK, the game attained a status which seen it referred to universally as simply Sensi.
and up against Sensi, I don't envy them. Is number 5.
Number 5 is Virtua Striker 2, the AM2 arcade smash of summer 97, ported to Dreamcast in December 99, and obviously came out in the West in March of 2000. A huge hit in Japan. It was the second highest grossing arcade game in Japan in 1998, behind Tekken 2, but it did take the top spot in 1999.
I know, that's a heavyweight fight, that is. 2 big guns going in. So, number 8 is the next one.
Number 8, we have Worldwide Soccer 97. And that was, of course, also developed by Team Akia, released on the Sega Saturn in late 1996, and considered by many to be one of the favourites for this tournament.
Oh, it's certainly one of mine, and I've got a feeling that it's going to be up against its upgrade, because that's the only one left, number 2.
Number 2, Worldwide Soccer 2000 Euro Edition, developed by Silicon Dreams and published by Sega Europe, released in June of 2000. So it's a bit of a derby there, isn't it, really?
A bit of a derby, yeah. The Worldwide Soccer Derby.
So the 4 ties we have then is FIFA International Soccer versus Italia 90, International Victory Goal versus Euro 96, Sensible Soccer versus Virtua Striker 2, and Worldwide Soccer 97 versus Worldwide Soccer 2000 in the Worldwide Soccer Derby.
Right, and then we'll do the winner of FIFA versus Italia 90 and Victory Goal in 96 in semi-final 1, and the winners of the Sensi versus, that's a very very heavy second bracket there, isn't it? Sensi versus Virtua Striker and the Worldwide Soccer Derby.
Yeah, we're going to lose 2 big hitters in those in game 3 and 4. I mean, I think game 1 FIFA has to be favourite there. Game 2, Victory Goal versus Euro 96 could go either way, to throw the football puns in there. But no, so the idea was that we would just basically, face the games off against each other. And if we are unable to decide, Martin Tyler voice, we'll have to go to VAR. So VAR on this occasion is CVG's reviews, because VAR, of course, has to be impartial, So we've decided to use the CVG review scores in the event of a tie, and we have to go to VAR to split the decision.
CVG is the only mag that actually was around for all of these.
There you go. That's a claim to fame, isn't it?
They're the only ones that I could find a review for Italia 90. And I think well, we'll see if we get to VAR. We'll talk about the scores. So, mate, do we want to jump into? What? We may not. So, do we want to jump into
the first one?
Yeah, mate. So, FIFA. God, I remember first getting this back in 1993. God, hard to believe that was 29 years ago. I remember seeing the ads for it. I remember seeing all of that, because there was like big, huge two-page spreads in like Mega Magazine and Games Master, and it had all like the animations of like, so when they're doing a bicycle kick or anything, and it was just basically, this isn't a game, this is full on 11 versus 11, this is stadium sounds recorded, this is authentic. And to be honest, it was like nothing else I'd played before, because it really was drilling down on that simulation side of it. I mean, most of what I'd played before that, I played Kickoff 2. I played World Cup Italia 90, which is obviously the foe in this game. I played Microprose Soccer. I don't know if you've ever played that one on the Commodore 64, because that was made by Sensible Software back in the day. So it plays an awful lot like a Proto Sensi, that one, but they were all still very arcadey. This felt like the real deal. So that's the way the players moved. It just all felt so authentic. Lovely little touches on it. Love the little dot matrix display that comes up with the little animations when you score a goal. And everyone loves
the wee ball with the hands that flap.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a 90s thing. You see, today you go to any stadium, it's got a full screen up there. Like back in the day, those little dot matrices were. Looking at those, thinking of those just makes you feel all fuzzy, mate. So you don't get that sort of stuff anymore. And of course, running away from the referee, standing in front of the goalkeeper and he's trying to boot the ball out, all that sort of hijinks. But yeah, it's brilliant stuff, mate. And I know it was on your Dirty Dozen Mega Drive games, wasn't it, when we recorded that?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, again, the first place I played FIFA was on the Amiga, and it was one of the rare Amiga games that I didn't pirate. It was like, so it was like I had the big box version. It was actually really nice. The kind of white outer sleeve came out, and you had this nice black box inside with the EA logo printed on it, and obviously your discs and your manual inside. It was a really really nice kind of presentation, and I've not seen footage of the Amiga version in a long time, but at the time I played it, it felt again having seen kind of clips and like kind of obviously magazines and seen it. I think I'm sure it was on Games Master as well, and seeing it on there. It was pretty close. It was a decent conversion on the Amiga. The color palette wasn't quite up to what the Mega Drive was. It looked a bit kind of duller, but I mean the Dutch goalkeeper was still a bastard.
Yeah.
You know, it's that can. But it was crazy. Obviously you went for Sensei, this top down, very simple, one button, tap to pass, hold in to shoot, after touching, pull back on the joystick to add kind of loft and things like that. And now you were having a game where, even if you were taking a corner, you had like a wee kind of preview window to show where you wanted to put the ball, and
Yeah.
the fans and and whoa, and all that, and just goalie puts it over the bar and the crowd react and stuff like that. So it was crazy to see that they did try and add that kind of level of realism into it. So it's definitely one of the kind of the big hitters. And I mean, as we said at the start when we drew the team out, it's like, or the game out, like no one could have foreseen then that it would go on. We're now on to FIFA 23, but it's like, 2023, it's not the 23rd FIFA game, it's like how many games has there been, so no, it's a stalwart of the 90s, and just an absolute classic game.
Yeah, agree, mate. It's still so much charm to it. Still loads of fun. Me and my lad were playing it a little while back. Just he was like, "What's the first FIFA?" I was like, "We'll come here," and they got pulled out the old great big box, stuck that cart with a yellow tab in, and off we went. But no, it's great that it came to the Amiga like that, because it actually got ported to a fair few platforms, and I think given how decent, I've not played the Amiga version, but given how decent Desert Strike was on the Amiga as well, I can imagine that it was a fairly decent port. So that's
the
FIFA,
Game
mate.
Gear port was good as well, by the way.
I've seen it. Do you know, I've not played the Game Gear port. I'd love to give that a go. I'd love to have
I had that. That was decent, by the way. It was actually really, really good.
Oh, I need to hunt that down then.
I've
got that and the Mega CD port, the ones that I want.
Christ, I've never seen the Mega CD one.
No, apparently, I don't think there's too much in it, but there's more full motion video, more stadium sounds, and all that sort of stuff. So I'm keen to give it a go. It's got pretty good reviews, to be honest.
Pick it up, mate.
Yeah, will do. But onto FIFA's opponent this evening. So, World Cup Italia 90. What's your experience of this one?
Not much until recently, whenever we were going to do the episode. And as I said to you before we came on air, mate, it reminded me a lot of, Kickoff, Dino Dini's Kickoff on the Amiga, that kind of, again, top down, but everybody had like dark hair and their wee arms, so you could kind of stick it to the side when they're on about.
Yeah.
Very, very basic compared to FIFA. And again, as I said, it was only the official game, as we said, outside of Europe. It was, completely renamed, no license, nothing. Yeah. So if you take away the Italian 90 license, it's quite a bland football game.
Yeah, I have very strong nostalgic bias to this game, because before this I'd only played Micro Pro Soccer, which is a fantastic game, and playing it now, it still plays like a dream. But and Kickoff 2 on the Commodore 64. So coming to this, I was like, wow, and I was, loved Italia 90 as a tournament that, one of my first, probably the first tournament that I remember watching, and massive nostalgia for that. So playing the game, I loved it. I've got really strong memories of just playing it and having, you go through the full groups. The groups are, drawn, so you don't go through the groups. Unlike Euro '96 on the Saturn, where the groups are exactly as they are in the tournament. Italian 90 redraws them, so it's all completely random. And I had some epic matches on there. Used to not know all the tricks to get through the game, so used to try and get through it on merit. And some epic games. I remember the one that I loved the most was when I was in the semi-final and drew 5-5 with the USSR, getting an equaliser in like the 89th minute, and beating them on penalties, and then winning against Argentina in the final. So there's just something about it for me. I mean, it's big dumb fun because there's no fouls in it. You can just keep hammering that A button and just absolutely poleaxing everyone all around you. The goalkeepers are beasts in that game, but if you cross the ball in, they fall to pieces. So that's kind of where it falls down. I think it's basic, but I was quite keen to see that. Quite happy to see that Sega Lord X had some appreciation for it. Because he's done this video recently. Small Mega Drive games, so games on 1 megabyte, 2 megabyte carts, and obviously, no surprise, World Cup Italia 90 is on a 1 megabyte cart, given that it's so basic. And he was saying he doesn't know the nuances of football. He doesn't follow soccer that much, but he found this really enjoyable. I think that's fair. I can totally see where he comes from with that. So yeah, I've got a deep love for this one. I know it's not the most well regarded, but part of me wants to fight his corner.
Oh, so with that in mind, who's winning this one then, mate?
As much as I want to fight World Cup Italia 90's corner, I can't not go with the original FIFA. I played that game so much when my brother got it, and we'd get mates round, and there'd be four of us all sitting around doing a tournament. And as much as I love World Cup Italia 90, as much as I have that nostalgia for the tournament, as much as I love as much as I love the music, I've got to go with FIFA. And how about yourself, mate?
Again, it'll be FIFA all day. Again, it's a game I've played more. I think it's a game that kind of brought something new and fresh to the video game kind of football market. So, while I'm not as much a fan of what they've become, where they started is phenomenal. So, it's FIFA who shall advance in this one.
FIFA gets the easy win there. I think if we went to the CVG scores, I don't think Italia 90 would stand a chance anyway. I think that game got lambasted when it came out, and FIFA was really well regarded. It did, yeah. Although we could take a look at the CVG scores if we want. Don't not so much go to VAR, which is.
Let's look and see.
Let's do Italia 90. If Italia 90 is going out, because we may have to revisit FIFA later. But Italia 90, 44% in CVG.
Wow.
So, yeah. I don't agree with that. I love that game, but I think it's the first casualty.
That's the thing with reviews, mate. If you enjoy it, that's all that matters. You know, it's like the Crackdown 3 scandal. You know, I dare to say I enjoyed Crackdown 3 because it was essentially, to me, a reboot of the first game, and I loved the first game. So, but didn't review well. But hey, I enjoyed it. So
I still need to play that. It's one I keep thinking I need to get onto because I love the first game as well. I don't know if it's just the first game, upgraded for the next generation. I don't see what the problem was.
Right, exactly. But time has moved on, mate.
Good stuff, mate. So we've got a Sega Saturn derby next. Yes, International Victory Goal versus Euro 96. So Victory Goal, known as Sega Worldwide Soccer Victory Gold Edition in the US,
Aye, a big
which is the
long
first.
title.
Yeah, it's the first instance I think there is of it being called Worldwide Soccer. But yeah, I think I went into this one when we were talking about the Sega Saturn launch lineup because it was, of course, a launch game in the West for both the US and for the UK. And I do like this one a fair bit. Very nice. As opposed, more in the Italia 90 sort of club than the FIFA sort of realm. It's a very arcadey sort of game. But it runs at a really decent lick, really fast, really fluid. Definitely runs at like 60 frames per second. Not fully 3D. I think the grounds are 3D. The players are all 2D sprites, a little frantically animated. Quite amusing to watch sometimes. Funny little quirks in how it plays, whacking it at the keeper. Sometimes you'll palm it out straight onto your player's head to just dink it back in. But yeah, there's not much to it. That's the thing. There's only 16 teams, which might be interesting when we talk about Euro 96. But what's your thoughts on Victory Goal?
Again, as we spoke about on the Saturn launch games episode, we did, it was a game I remember my uncle renting from Blockbuster back in the kind of early days of the Saturn. And it was big, colourful, bold football game, but it was, as you said, no frills, mate. It was just very arcadey rock music as you're kicking lumps out of people, very, very basic gameplay, just a lot of fun, just not taking itself too seriously at all. And again, a worthy launch title, just to get a football game out there,
Yeah.
for mates to kind of play against each other. So I had a lot of fun with it, but at the same time, Euro 96 has also got a special place because it was part of my Sega Saturn bundle for my own machine. So, it's split kind of.
Yeah, I do love the music in it. I'm pretty sure it must be Jun Suno who does the Sega Rally 2 soundtrack. He plays for the Crush 40. Who does the Sonic Adventure soundtrack? It's just got that guitar sound to it. I'm not 100% sure it is him, but it's definitely got that sort of. If it's not him, it's just a very Sega, very mid 90s Sega sounding game.
Aye, it definitely does have that sound to it. You can turn the music off. It's one of those ones where I think, as annoying as the music can get, the game loses a wee bit of its charm if you turn it off, because it's not meant to be a serious football game where you hear the crowd and all that. It's you're kicking lumps at people and absolutely not getting pulled up with the referee, and it's like, it's. It's like, play on, boys, play on.
Oh, it's definitely from like the arcade like era of football games. What's the Neo Geo one? Is it Super Sidekicks? That one's absolutely bonkers.
Aye.
Yeah, those games.
Aye.
It's definitely of that ilk, and I love it for it. That's what I do. It's probably the most arcadey game on this list, next to Virtua Striker. But yeah, I've got a lot of time for that one. But 16 teams, not many modes. But I think that's probably similar for Euro 96, isn't it? That's only got 16 teams in.
I'm trying to remember, because also it's the official game of the tournament, so it's literally there's no qualifying mode in it. It's just literally the tournament. So you can, if I remember, because I played it no long ago, I played through it. I actually won Euro 96 with Scotland. Who scored the winner? Sensational Ali McCoy scored the winner. But you can rejig the groups. I'm sure you can shuffle the groups to make your own tournament.
I think you can.
Or you can just play, the actual tournament as it happened. But as I said, I love that game because it was part of my bundle. Because obviously, as I said, the first time I played the Saturn was July 8th, 95, and my uncle got one, surprised me with it, and then I got my own Christmas 96, and my bundle was VF2, Sega Rally, Thunderhawk 2, Firestorm, and Euro 96 from Dixie's.
Yeah.
So I just played it a ton, and even when I went back and played it, it's like, It's not the greatest football game now, but it's good. I can't remember the name of the commentator, but it's like, "Any my guys!" It's like, get the case, mate. Tell me who the commentator was, because that's annoying me. I recognise his voice.
I'm just looking now. I've got all the games next to me, but I've not even shown yet.
No, it's like his commentary could be like really over the top for like something as simple as a throw in. You know, it's like the crowd noise for it. It was like if someone had a shot and the goalie saved it, it was more like, it was like, what is that all about? It's like the same sample, regardless of whether it was just past the post, keeper saved it, didn't matter. It was the same sound sample. But no, and all the goalies had the same kit.
Yes, they did.
Purple and black. No, I mean, purple and black.
Oh, all the players looked identical, didn't they?
Aye. There was no way you were telling who was actually who. There was no likenesses, no likenesses at all in the players in the game. But no, it was good fun. Even the stadiums, you couldn't tell. I'm trying to remember if it comes up at the start and tells you the venue where you're meant to be playing, but the stadiums all just look exactly the same. But no, this is one I'd be very torn to choose between. As I say, the commentator that just annoys me. I can't remember his name, but
Barry Davis.
That's him there. That's it.
Yeah, I had to look it up. It's not in the case. It's not in the game. It's not in the manual. But yeah, I had to search it.
No, the commentary again at that time as well. It was probably the best football commentary you'd heard at that point.
Yeah,
you know, it was probably the closest to like TV with it being a voice that you heard on Match of the Day and things like that as well. So, no, it's a tough one, mate. It's a tough one. What about you in Euro '96?
Yeah, so I didn't play Euro '96 until I played a demo about a year or two into owning my Saturn, and by that point, I think I played Actua Soccer 2 or 3 on a friend's PlayStation. So to me, it felt like a step back. And of course, I'd played Virtua Worldwide Soccer on the Saturn and owned it and loved it at that point. So as much as I absolutely adored the tournament. I actually went to all the England games at Wembley when I was a kid. Yeah.
So
you've
seen Gaza's goal in the flesh?
I was behind the goal that he scored in.
See, that
watching him do the dentist chair.
Split loyalties in that one, mate, because you know, on one hand it's my country, but on the other hand it was the guy who'd only been at Rangers for a year and he scored into the Rangers goal at the time, Andy Gorham. So aye.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they kind of laugh or cry at that one, to be fair.
It's one of my favourite goals of all time. Just the little chip dink and the volley.
Aye.
Fantastic.
What a goal.
Yeah, what a goal indeed. So yeah, you'd think, given everything I just said about Italia '90, that I'd have that fondness, but for some reason the game's just not quite clicked for me. I think Actua Soccer itself have always, because the shooting on it, you kind of have to, you press the shoot button and you kind of have to angle your play. You move the D-pad, don't you? So if you pull back while you're shooting, you basically just lean back and hoof it over the bar, don't you? So it's quite nuanced.
Mate, I've put a couple of shots outside the box for the throw-in. You know. So, aye. The shooting's not the most nuanced, let's put it that way.
No. I mean, the presentation is absolutely immaculate. It's absolutely gorgeously presented. Everything it really takes that official license and runs with it. And I think it's fantastic, products of the tournament. I think just on that basis alone, it really stirs up a lot of memories. It's just that actually playing, most of it is because I'm just rubbish at it. And I've always been rubbish at actual soccer games. The game's crap. No, you're not good. No, it's the game. It's all the game.
Get good. Oh,
but yeah, for this one, I'm probably leaning towards international victory goal on here. Playing the two, because I only picked up Euro '96 a few years back. I got it in a bundle, and it's one that I like having because obviously as a piece of memorabilia for a tournament, wonderful. As a game, playing that and playing international victory goal back to back, definitely have more fun with international victory goal.
See, I'm going to lean into your Italian 90 style, and I think while we didn't have a great tournament, and Gary McAllister is still a dick, Ali McCoy did score a wonder goal against Switzerland in that
What
tournament.
a goal that was.
Aye. But I think, again, the fact that it did come with the Saturn that was mine is maybe something that hooks me into it a bit more. So I'm leaning more towards Euro 96 on this one.
Does that mean we're going to VAR?
We're going to VAR. We're going to VAR. Right. Hold on.
He's checking. Euro 96. 75%.
Go away. Go. I'll book you. Get.
Victory goal. 71%, which means Euro 96 advances to the semi-finals.
Wow, there we go.
Ref's decision.
That's a controversial decision right there. Jeez.
And there's drama already in the tournament.
VAR making itself known. Tickaboo, son.
Tickaboo.
Tickaboo, son. Oh, man. Wow, so there we go.
Yeah. So FIFA and Euro 96 our first semi-final.
There we go. Whoa. So VAR having its impact already then, mate. There we go.
It is. So the next match, mate, a couple of titans here.
Ooh.
Sensible soccer. Come on. What are your thoughts on this?
Where do you start, mate? I mean, right, my memories of Sensible Soccer are obviously all based on the Amiga version. And for me, as much as this, has a place on the Mega Drive, it's like Turrican. Although it came out in the Mega Drive, for me, it'll always be an Amiga game. It's just it's one of those ones that it's synonymous with that platform. But I remember, obviously, you had to edit all the kind of names of the teams, and I remember sitting doing that mainly because, if I remember, you could create tournaments, and I created at that time because it's based in the 92-93 season, so I created the first ever Champions League, which is obviously Rangers took part in.
Yeah.
And we had Marseille, CSK, Moscow, and Club Brugge in our group. So I edited all those teams, and I did the other group as well, which obviously AC Milan were in. I can't remember the other three teams in their group, to be fair. But I remember as well, because of the way the kind of shadows and the way the players were drawn, Rangers' stock kit was just a blue top, white shorts, and blue socks.
Yeah.
Which didn't look right because our socks are black with red tops. So I discovered that because the players in Sensei had wee tiny black shoes on, their wee football boots, if I made the Rangers socks red, when you played it, it looked like they had black socks with the red tops. So, and I made the sleeves white because Rangers had the white Adidas equipment logos. So I just remember doing that and editing all the names, and I just used to sit there and kind of commentate along, like Jenny McNee for STV at the time. So it's Injured now white to Peter Hustra. It's Mark Hateley. So sitting there with my wee zip stick, just reenacting these games. But so much fun with Sensible Soccer, and then obviously we got Sensible World of Soccer, which expanded on it. I think you had the manager mode in that as well. Kind of a wee bit of enhancement on the graphics and more sounds and stuff like that. But no, I've got such a insanely strong nostalgic warmth towards sensible soccer. I just think it's an absolutely wonderful game with so many memories hooked into it. So that's my wee emotional outpouring for Sensei. What about yourself, mate? How does Sensei tie in with yourself?
Yeah, so I didn't play as much of it in its heyday because it came out around about the same time as FIFA, and because my brother and I we'd played a few of the EA, like John Madden, EA Hockey, and all that sort of stuff. And because, as I said, the big 2-page spread, the adverts, we went straight for FIFA. So I didn't actually play Sensi until I think early '94. So it came out late '93 on the Mega Drive. Obviously, it'd been out years before on the Amiga. And a friend rented it from the video shop. I think it was like £2 to rent a game for a few days. And I remember, coming from FIFA and looking at Sensi, you're just like, look at these tiny little characters. But as soon as we got our hands on it, it was magic. And then I never owned it until a couple of years later, until it was dirt cheap. But the thing was about it is, quite a few of my friends did, and it would always go on, always, because we didn't get another football game until like FIFA '96, 2 years later. So I couldn't very much say, well, guys, FIFA, can we have sensible soccer as well? And so you got your football game, made your choice. You stuck with FIFA, and FIFA was fine, but there's just a magic about Sensi, just the way it's so quick. I'm talking about how Victory Goal, is rapid and arcade-like. In a way, it kind of feels like I don't want to say a poor man's Sensi, but it very much Sensi is just the expert at how that sort of fast get play, and the way that you bend the balls around, the way that you shoot, just everything about it just feels so fluid and just pitch perfect. And it's just absolutely timeless. You can pick it up and play it now. And the edit mode, mate. Me and my mate spent so long editing everyone, putting the right names in.
I can remember as well that Stuart McCall wasn't ginger. To make it, because mind you could click on their wee heads to change.
Yeah, you could. Yeah,
their skin colour and their hair colour as well. So
yeah,
you could go through and change everybody. It was so good, man. Just going in and kind of adding your own wee touches. And again, you'd never really had anything like that to actually go in and kind of personalise a football game as well. So, great fun.
Yeah, I imagine that worked so much better on the Amiga, because obviously on the Mega Drive you've got the pad. Well, I imagine mouse and keyboard. You could, do in 10 minutes what it would take hours to do on the Mega Drive.
Aye, zip stick over, hit on the player's name, type it in, enter, done. Next one, done. That was it. Easy. Did a team in like 2 minutes, mate.
Yeah, it took longer for that. But yeah, I was listening to our interview with Jason the other day, and I was just couldn't help but laugh at the story of your mate that's coming in with the expansion disc with the overhead kits.
Honestly, I don't know where he is now and what he's doing, but this guy, if you've never heard this story, right, in the last episode with Jason, it was he sold blank floppy disks in secondary school, and he told people that it was a cheat disc to add overhead kicks to sensible soccer. Right? Of course, there was no code on the disc, so I just load it in and it adds overhead kicks. I think he sold it for like 25p or 50p a disc or something like that. Must have raked it in selling a pack of blank floppies. They kicked his head in, honestly, but there we go.
What an enterprising young lad. But yeah, mate, Sensi is obviously both think very highly of it, but it's up against, it hasn't got a cakewalk, I'd say. It's up against Virtua Striker. Did you play this on release, or did you play it much later?
I got this on import, mate, Virtua Striker 2, on my Dreamcast. Again, a lot of my games that I got for the Dreamcast, for Charlie's, for CA Games, was kind of like trade-ins. So I remember I got Crazy Taxi, I got it for £35. So I think Virtua Striker 2 was a kind of similar 35-40 quid, which for an import game at that time was a good price.
Yeah.
And I remember being really blown away by the visuals on it were absolutely stunning. You know, big, chunky character models, stadiums with flags waving, and you know the banners all around the edges like Dreamcast logos, and you know, was it Fujifilm and all these kind of different logos all around the edge, and it just looked looked like proper football at that time. I was like, wow, this is just so much detail. The pitch looked great, everything about it. But the only thing I think that lets down Virtua Striker 2, and it's interesting, and you picked up that with Sensible Soccer, it's the fluidity and the speed that makes that gameplay. I think what can drag Virtua Striker 2 down is the fact that there's an element of almost lag to the input and the controls. So sometimes it feels as if there's a delay between you hitting a button and on screen doing something, and I think it's not a flaw in terms of like the conversion. It's more that's the way the game is, that's the way it's built, it's meant to be played like that. And of course you've got like the kind of the cheat goal, you know, if you cross it in, if the computer gets a chance to cross it in, you're conceding a header. You know, let's go commentator goes absolutely bananas.
Oh god. Oh, he goes absolutely go. A rainbow! Today's best goal!
They shoot the replays. The wee rainbow after the.
I got this. You see, Virtua Striker 1 was a Model 2 arcade game, wasn't it? And I wanted that to come to the Saturn. Even though we had Worldwide Soccer, and Worldwide Soccer was amazing. I wanted Virtua Striker to come to Saturn. Obviously, never did. Then Virtua Striker 2 went to Model 3. So when this came out on the Dreamcast, I didn't get it on release, but I got it pretty soon after. Like you, mate, I got it on import. And yeah, the visuals on it are astounding. I think the thing with it is that I always find is that it doesn't play like any other football game that exists out there. It's completely its own thing. And it's kind of like if you play FIFA, and if you even to an extent, if you play Sensi, you can kind of chain passes together. You know, if you press, and with modern FIFA, if you press pass and it's rolled into your striker, you can start holding down the shoot button. So when it lands, they kind of one touch and levy it. Whereas this doesn't seem to have that doesn't have that window. You actually have to wait until the ball's at your player's feet and that last impact is gone. And I think that's what we mean by the lag. That it does feel like very stop-start. It feels very chunky to play.
Aye. It's, you almost feel like you're fighting against it.
Yeah.
But again, it's like almost that chunkiness almost makes it so much more rewarding when you score.
Oh God. When I was playing these games for this, I started playing it, and I hadn't played it for a while. I had 2 games without scoring. One where I lost 1-0 to Cameroon. I was just like, oh, why is this game such a pain? And then it clicked, and then I was scoring and getting a rainbow, today's best goal, all that sort of stuff. I was like, this game's amazing.
Give me more.
But it's like, one thing that there was a review and they slammed it. They really ripped into it. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Edge magazine reviewed it, and they gave it a low. It might have been Edge, it might be Smith. But the one thing I do remember is what they said about it is, Virtua Striker 2 is not a football game. Virtua Striker 2 is a beat 'em up where the goalies are the bosses.
Wow.
I was thinking, I can kind of see that.
Aye, because again, you can get booked for something really, really innocuous, but then you can kick the utter dung at somebody to get the ball back, and it just plays on. It's like, really, boys?
I know, very selective refereeing in it. Oh,
Aye.
God, I think the Dreamcast version as well. You got I do like the arcade mode because again, it's completely different to any other game on this list. You've got that timed, and then you have got the actual extra modes. There's a decent selection of teams on there. It's especially if you play it multiplayer as well. It's really good fun. So yeah, you can kind of see why, especially in Japan, they absolutely adored it out there. Given how it knocking Tekken 3 off its perch to be the most successful arcade game of that year. It's no small feat, and yeah, you can kind of see that.
They really did take to it. And it's funny as well, my team I always picked in Virtua Striker 2 was Japan, because I loved the Japan kit at that time.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's so nice. And again, if I remember, in the tournament mode, if you win the tournament, you play that kind of special team with the yellow,
Yeah.
yellow and green kit.
Yeah.
And I've never beat them.
No, I haven't either.
No. And apparently you can pick them if you beat them.
Yeah.
But
I've never unlocked them.
No, same. Solid, mate.
All the kits on there are banging, though, I've got to say.
Aye.
The kits of that era, I think they're probably biased because I would have been coming up to 16 or something around then, for like France '98 time and everything. And I love all the kits in that, and they're because it's a model free game. They're so bright and so it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful looking game.
One other wee kind of really clever kind of gameplay kind of trick in it as well is that I like the fact that you've got a very finite time before the game kicks off where you can actually change your formation.
Yeah.
So you can press the button to shuffle through a selection of formations, which I think is quite clever. If you pick like Holland, like they've just got like an all-out attack, like something stupid, like was it fucking 4-1-5 or something stupid. You can just have them set up. It's like, we have no midfield. We're just going to have 5 strikers. Like, yes, we are a Dutch. We're just going to come over here and just going to play 5 strikers.
Switch up the pitch.
Yes, and go to win some prizes.
Yeah. I just thinking of hoofing it in that game though. It's just the sound and the feel of it. That's what I mean by it being chunky when you press like the long puzzle.
Even if you tackle somebody when it's like this swooshing noise for a slide tackle, man. It's like
oh god, mate, it's absolutely superb, isn't it? Absolutely superb game.
That is great fun.
It is. So out of the two, there can only be one winner.
I'm torn, mate. Honestly,
Really?
it is a hard one because I enjoyed both of them so much. But again, if I'm leaning towards one, which I need to, I think again, much like with Euro '96, there's just a bit too much of a nostalgic hook there, and I think Sensible Soccer is just edging it, just over the line, mate.
Oh, just over the line.
Yep.
I'm going to go Sensi as well, and because I think the immediacy of it, Virtua Striker 2, it takes a while for it to settle in, and when it does, it's absolutely magic. It's a sensational game. It's a beautiful looking game. We just spent the last 5-10 minutes absolutely raving about it for a reason. It's fantastic. Sensi, you pick it up and it's amazing, and you play it for 25 years later and it's still amazing. So I think, as much as I love Virtua Striker 2 on this one, I'll have to give Sensi the nod to advance Sensi to the semi-final.
Yep, there we go. So the next one is the Worldwide Soccer Derby.
It is indeed, mate. It's indeed. So, Worldwide Soccer 97. Thoughts on this one, mate?
Where do you start? Worldwide Soccer 97. I mean, it's arguably the best football game on the Saturn. Yeah, I don't even think 98 touches it, and 98 is good.
Yeah.
I think 97's just got, again, you can see the kind of almost it does take, I think, a bit of inspiration from the kind of Virtua Striker layout. It's got those kind of big chunky players, the big 3D arenas, so you can see it kind of tries to kind of utilise that similar kind of style. I've not checked to see which one came out first. Whether Virtua Striker came out in Model 2 before World Wide Soccer 97, but again, it's just so many options, so many teams. You've got teams on every continent. You press the shoulder buttons to go through each continent. You've got so many teams to pick from. And again, the gameplay on it is absolutely brilliant. The scoreboards, whenever you score a goal, the wee animations. There's so many of them. That's part of the fun of scoring a goal. You don't know what one you're going to get.
No.
That was almost a reward in itself for scoring a goal.
Some of them are so random as well. They're all over the place.
There's like ones where there was a ball in somebody's mouth and he spits it back out again. It's like goal. It's like just honestly, but it's a damn good football game. Again, controls wise, it's not as clunky as like Virtua Striker 2. It's not as immediate as or as responsive as like a sensible soccer, but it's just a cracking game. And again, whenever you score a goal, you do feel that you've earned it. It's really on it. If I had to pick one football game from the starting to play over and over again, it'd be World Wide Soccer 97. I think it's an absolutely brilliant game.
Yeah, I completely agree, mate, with everything you just said. I first played Worldwide Soccer Christmas 1996. So I got my Saturn in 1996. And the first Christmas, I wanted Virtual Cop 2, which I got. And my brother, he got FIFA 96 the year before. For the Mega Drive, and for my Saturn, he asked for a football game, which was Sega Worldwide Soccer 97, and it was unlike anything I'd ever seen. I hadn't played any 3D football games up until that point, and it just absolutely blew me away. I sit through that brilliant intro every time I'd put it on. With a brilliant guitar. Again, that sounds like a Jean Sonnery little joint on that one. Just the presentation is absolutely glorious. It's really like slick. It just looks like I've put a lot of time. It's really polished, that front end. And you say, when you scroll through all the different continents and you choose like 6 teams per like bracket, you've got all those options. You've got is international only. And I think all of the games that we're looking at today are mostly international focused. But even though there's 48 teams in Worldwide Soccer 97. Even though it's just international, you don't feel it because it just plays so well. And you've got World League, you've got Worldwide Cup, and then you've got, I can't remember it's going to bug me, but you get the other option, which is basically going through the qualifying round and then going into the Worldwide Cup afterwards, which I absolutely love that. And I was really tempted to start that up again when I was playing it recently. Apart from it takes up almost half your cartridge, your memory space on there. So
aye.
Yeah, the commentary on it, is it good? Probably not. But oh mate, I love that commentary from Gary Bloom so much.
Gary Bloom,
and he's going to let this one fly some distance.
No, the best one was like he cracked somebody like in the halfway line. Oh, that must be a spot kick. Mate, it's a halfway line. You talk about, and then it was the most. He made Mark Lawrenson seem enthused whenever you scored the goal, because it's like, yes, let's look at this from another angle. Yes, that makes it clear now. It's like,
yep. And another angle, and another angle.
So whenever you heard, like, I think that's what made Euro 96's commentary, I think because Davies' commentary was a lot more enthusiastic because that was his style.
Yeah.
I think he was a lot louder, more enthusiastic, where Gary Bloom wasn't particularly known for being one of these commentators. Like, he's never going to hit Martin Tyler. Aguero! No. He's never going to get to that level, but
what did Gary Bloom do? Was he Football Italia?
Aye, it was him.
Yeah,
Peter Brackley.
Yes.
I always remember with Peter Brackley and James Richardson. We hand over now, to the commentators now. Oh, thank you, James. It's like, Was it Luther Blissett and
Oh God, Luther Blissett. Yeah.
Luther Blissett was always the co-commentator, or Joe Jordan with his absolutely brutal Scottish Italian accent. Well, thank you very much for bringing me here to talk about the Milan. Where are you from, mate? He's Scottish. Oh man.
Oh,
Aye.
mate, memories. Yeah, really special, that one. That's the thing about these games. They just take you back to a certain place and time, don't
the because of when they came out, you can kind of obviously the era of football that you lived at that time, you played it is also entrenched in there. So that whole, Italian football, Channel 4, kind of like 94 through to kind of 97, 98, you've always got that kind of hooked in there. Then you remember the kind of domestic leagues as well, and just all the kind of moments that went on at those times. So I think that adds to it as well. I think if you're somebody who's going to go back and play these football games now, and you're not an old bastard like us that was alive whenever these tournaments and whatnot were happening, then you can maybe take a more clinical look at them. But I think you've got so much in the background to go with them.
That's it.
Baggage, mate, baggage.
Well, my son saw me playing Worldwide Soccer 97 the other day, and he came in and went, "What FIFA is this?" So it's not even FIFA. You should see what FIFA looked like back then. But I'm pretty sure Worldwide Soccer came out around the summertime '96, and there was something I read back then that said that International Superstar Soccer 64, which came out at the end of '96, was influenced by Worldwide Soccer. Because ISS 64 was the very first 3D polygonal ISS game. Obviously, you had Superstar Soccer Deluxe and Superstar Soccer on the SNES and Mega Drive, which, if that's true, you kind of trace that back. Worldwide Soccer influenced that, which grew into Pro Evo and all of that. So it may have a massive influence, which I think it's probably very unfairly forgotten about these days, outside of anyone that put any sort of time into it, like myself and you, can't stop singing its praises enough. It's unfortunately, I think it's just unfairly forgotten now, because like a lot of Sega Saturn stuff, unfortunately.
It's definitely one of those games that, as you say, if you were there and played it, it's got a very, there's a lot of affection for it, because at the time of when it did. But no, Worldwide Soccer 97 is absolutely it's the best Saturn football game by far.
It sounds like you're already. If it meets Euro 96 in the final, it sounds like a done deal.
Well,
we'll have to wait and see. Well, we waxed on about Sega Worldwide Soccer long enough, mate. Should we talk about Sega Worldwide Soccer?
I think we could put some Eurobeat on here. Deja vu.
So with 97 done, Sega Worldwide Soccer 2000 and Euro edition, to be specific, because I think there was the usual Worldwide Soccer 2000, and then this. Fred's people call it an upgrade, but I think it's a fairly substantial one, isn't it?
I mean, again, what we're looking at the Euro edition here, which obviously has got the kind of the club teams and whatnot in there. I mean, I always remember about this game having a really, really nice cover.
Yeah.
I thought the case was beautiful for it. Honestly, that white cover with the look at that. That is a lovely, lovely game. That case is great, but it's just it's got the name, it's got kind of the club teams, and obviously the visuals are better, the commentary's better, as we mentioned. Peter Brackley and James Richardson, they're both in this, but at the same time, it feels a lot more, trying to think the right word, hollow compared to Worldwide Soccer 97. The animation and the way the players move doesn't quite feel natural. It's like their spines are made of like this rigid shape. Like there's no for the technology in the Dreamcast, and whenever you look at like Virtua Striker 2 and the way the players move and the way that they're drawn, this definitely is a downgrade to that. But it's a good football game in its own right. But when you're putting it up against Worldwide Soccer 97, it's very, very difficult to pick it over it for me.
Yeah, so obviously the history with this one is it goes back to Silicon Dreams, doesn't it? Who developed it? Who developed a really, really fun little football game called Olympic Soccer on the Saturn and PlayStation. And there's a charm about that game because it's all flat shaded polys, and it works really well. I actually really like it. And then they used that engine. Obviously, they did full texture maps, much better looking characters for World League Soccer. World League Soccer 98 was what came to Saturn and PlayStation, wasn't it? It came to Saturn. And that one, again, that played well. Not quite up to Worldwide Soccer standard on the Saturn, but still very good football game in its own right. Had an enhanced port on the PlayStation for 99, so World League Soccer 99. And that's who Sega passed the Worldwide Soccer license to. So obviously, in the end, you're not playing Worldwide Soccer. In effect, you're basically playing Olympic Soccer / World League Soccer, just with a different branding.
Aye, it's a kind of bait and switch similar to Football Manager and Championship Manager.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Obviously, Championship Manager, the name carried on, was given to Eidos, and they made a whole new game with that name. But Championship Manager lived on as Football Manager.
Yeah.
So it's kind of similar to that. But unfortunately, while Championship Manager, as it was known, lived on as Football Manager, Worldwide Soccer did not live on in another guise. It was lost after Worldwide Soccer 98, and as we say, we were just left with this imposter, shall we call it?
And it sounds like we're being really harsh on it, but it does, and it does play well. I mean, playing it on a HD display, it looks absolutely lovely, and it moves at a really nice. Like you can tell if you're coming from the Saturn games to this, you can tell it's full 60 frames per second. It doesn't move. You've got these massive full 3D stadiums. It looks absolutely gorgeous, and it plays well. It's a load of fun. There's quite a lot of nuance to it, but it's just missing the magic. And as you say, mate, it feels hollow compared to the Worldwide Soccer, the 97 and 98 for that matter.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree, mate. It's just it's not bad. It's responsive. As you say, it's fast. It's 60 FPS. It's razor sharp. I was playing it. I had a wee game of AC Milan versus Juventus, and I think I sent you the clip where I was doing the football Italia intro. I scored a bicycle kick with. Can't mind who it was. I think it might have been Shevchenko scored it with. I'm giving it loudly, but there is a bit of fun to it, but it's got the name, but it doesn't feel like Worldwide Soccer.
Yeah.
So I think hollow's the right word for it.
So when it comes to our verdict on these ones, mate, I don't think there's going to be any surprises for me. Sega Worldwide Soccer 97, easy win over 2000. It's the more iconic, more polished, just more fun, playable, solid game. So that gets my vote, and I imagine you'll be leaning the same way.
Yes, mate. It's a clean sheet for Worldwide Soccer 97. No problem at all. An easy tie. Flies through to the semi-finals.
They're running away with it.
Worldwide Soccer 97 progresses.
Setting up a tantalising semi against Sensi. But so Worldwide Soccer 2000. Do you want to know the CVG score for this one?
Let's go for it, mate.
75%.
Really?
Seeing as it's going out. Yeah, 75%. So that was similar to... What was the other one? So we know what Euro 96 got, also 75. Yeah. We didn't do Virtua Striker, did we? That went out.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, where did that get?
That one. I tell you what, mate. If we went to VAR for Virtua Striker versus Sensi, I think there would have been a lot. There might have been a lot of angry listeners. So you remember CVG, right? CVG used to do percentages, and then I think there's still percentages in where I've sourced these scores from, but obviously it's moved on to when they used to do. Do you remember the high five?
That's right.
So Virtua Striker 2 got a high five from CVG, which translates to obviously 100%.
Just as well we knocked it out then, eh?
Yeah, they called it the crazy taxi of football games.
Well. Okay. Oh, well, just as well get it then.
Yeah. No, there you go. So yeah, if you were split on Virtua Striker 2 v Sensi, mate. If it went to VAR, we would have been seeing Virtua Striker 2 in the semi-final.
Jeez.
But yeah, we've got a nice set of semis set up there. FIFA versus Euro 96, Sensi versus Sega Worldwide Soccer 97, and should we take this time to go to a nice little musical interlude, mate?
It's the half-time whistle, mate.
It's the half-time whistle.
We've breezed through injury time and we've come to half-time. So what have we got music-wise then today, mate?
So for our listeners, we've been talking about Sega Worldwide Soccer. We've got to take music from a game from this list, but it's not quite Sega Worldwide Soccer. This is the intro music from Victory Goal International Worldwide Edition. That's the Japanese version of Worldwide Soccer. It's the intro music, but with lyrics. Enjoy, listeners.
Cool.
That was the sensational vocal intro track from Victory Goal Worldwide Edition. It's time to football it. I love it.
Oh, it's too good, mate, honestly. I mind you posted that on Twitter a couple of weeks ago. I remember you sending it to somebody. And
yeah.
It's just brilliant, mate. Brilliant.
No, because when I was getting my lots from Japan, one of them came with loads of the Victory Goal. Obviously, the series is called Victory Goal in Japan, so they came with a load of those, and one of them was this worldwide edition. So I put it in, and I was thinking I'm going to sell this because I've got Victory Goal, I've got Worldwide 97, I've got Worldwide 98. I don't really need the rest. And that intro played, I was like, I'm keeping that.
On the shelf you go.
Yeah, it's identical. It's exactly the same game as Sega Worldwide Soccer 97. Just a different name, different title screen, slightly different intro, and that song. And I thought, all right, I'm keeping it. Obviously, we were just singing the praises of Worldwide Soccer 97. That's how much I love it. So now I've got both. I've got it for a lot actually. Got a lot of Japanese and Euro versions of games that I just that I've just got a real fondness for. Yeah, I do love that sort of thing. But anyway, mate, that's me waffling on about Victory Goal Worldwide Edition. We have a tournament on our hands, mate. 2 semi-finals, 4 big names.
Yeah, and as we said, FIFA versus Euro 96 and Sensible Soccer versus Worldwide Soccer 97. So getting us underway in the semi-finals is, of course, FIFA versus Euro 96. So obviously, we've kind of talked about all the games as we've kind of went through the tournament here, but let's kind of, rather than rehashing the ground we went over and kind of get over each game again, maybe discussing, I think, the merits of each game over the other in this one, rather than kind of try to do like a mini review again, because that would just be a bit repetitive. So, FIFA and Euro 96, separated by a few years, separated by a console generation as well. So does the move to 3D give Euro 96 the edge over FIFA?
You really could argue that it does. One thing that's quite interesting about it is, as I said just now when we were talking, in the previous round, FIFA versus Italia 90, the thing that tipped, FIFA over the line for me, got the injury time winner, if you will, was just how realistic it felt at the time. That realism, the player animation, the sounds, the sights of the grounds, the dot matrix display and all that stuff when you score a goal. There was just a real authenticity to it, and that's what elevated. That's why my brother and I plumped for FIFA over Sensible Soccer back in 1993, and that's why, as much as I have that fondness for Italia 90, it was that authenticity and that realism to FIFA that meant that I put FIFA before Italia 90. So if you look at FIFA versus Euro 96, which one's the more authentic? Well, Euro 96 has the better technology. It shows how quick technology was moving back then. Just 3 years apart between those, and you're going from these isometric 2D graphics with, there's some excellent use of the Mega Drive sound chip there to replicate those stadium sounds. But you go on with the full commentary and the sounds in Euro 96, full 3D visuals. The camera, you can swoosh it around, as you're playing. It's pretty astonishing. So if you're looking at authenticity, the big thing that original FIFA had in its back pocket, I think Euro 96 actually edges it out in that respect.
Yeah, the jump to another generation definitely takes it on. I think the thing is that while, there's the authenticity aspect in Euro 96 because of A, the license, B, the fact you can play the actual tournament as it existed at that time, and you can also mix it up, as we said, but it has authenticity due to a license, but it doesn't have, I think, the authenticity in terms of how it looks. The grounds are all very generic. They're not, and obviously FIFA on the Mega Drive and the Amiga didn't have any identifiable stadiums, but I think the stadiums felt more alive on FIFA on the Mega Drive.
Yeah,
and you could pick out people. You could see like different people wearing different clothes, and it was very basic little kind of hand-drawn 2D characters kind of things, but there was somebody with red jumpers, person with an orange jumper.
The first person I thought of was the guy in the red jumper.
The red jumper. Everybody goes to the night. So, and Euro 96 has just got like a texture that's meant to look like a mass of a crowd. So it kind of loses a wee bit of that kind of immersion. Maybe authenticity is not the right word, but the immersion of it, I think, is lost. Whereas I think FIFA feels very enclosed. It feels like the stadium's on top of you. I think rather than like Euro 96 feels very wide open and quite bare at times. So I think I'd be hard pressed to separate them.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean about Euro 96 compared to FIFA. There's something raw about FIFA. It's quite interesting. There's an irony in this, isn't there? there's an irony in the fact that out of FIFA versus an other football game, FIFA is the one that has got absolutely no license whatsoever, because all the
Aye.
players are made up. You've got international teams in there, but Euro '96 has got the official stadium, as you say. I think you can identify some of them, but there's definitely, the I suppose, I don't want to say primitive 3D visuals, but the early 3D visuals do make it hard to identify. And as you say, looking at the crowd, they are just kind of textures on that block compared to some really nice looking sprite and background work on FIFA. So it kind of depends what you want out of the two. So I think they've both got elements of authenticity over each other, which are both, when you put in these two games against each other, I think they're the two. That's the main driving point. But when you take that away and look at how they play, FIFA feels like the more fluid one to me, albeit it's a lot more basic. Would you agree? As we were talking about the nuance in the shooting in Euro '96.
Aye, I think if you go down to sheer gameplay alone, then I think FIFA would definitely trump it. I think that the control mechanism on it, the shooting, as you said, the fact that you can kind of time those first time shots edge of the box, and the thing in FIFA, you can't beat whatever you notice with FIFA, and that's the thing with a great football game, is that see whenever you hit shoot and you time it, and it leaves your player's boot, you know it's in, right?
Yeah.
And you know yourself, I always used to love it whenever you would smack one first time in the first FIFA, and like the goalie would dive, but it would dive after it's past him.
Yeah.
Almost like the goalie's doing it as an afterthought. Like the TV save attempt, and then your wee guy's away and he's giving it all that.
Oh god, yeah, the celebration.
Yeah, aye. He's away to the halfway line, and I just think that aspect of it, the crowd reaction as well. Whenever the ball hits the net, you actually hear the goalie's body thud on the ground as well. And then he's away. It's,
and then the crowd erupts, don't they? The crowd erupts when you score.
So Euro '96, there's again very, very generic kind of sound effects, very basic sound effects for as I've said, each thing. Like if there's a shot that goes narrowly past the post, it's like, it's like, you what? So again, you had that step up in terms of the visuals because of the generation, and maybe that kind of initial 3D buzz of it was it is good, and then you've got that kind of authenticity with the license, but I don't think you have the immersion. As I say, Euro '96 does feel very bare and wide open, whereas I think FIFA feels more enclosed. It feels, definitely there's more immersion to the football experience, I think, on the first FIFA. And I think it's kind of testament to just what a great job EA at that time, who are EA now, are unrecognisable from the EA back then. They did such a great job. So I can see merits for each game progressing to the final, but I think I have decided on my winner on this one, mate.
Yeah. The way that you're describing it just now, in the immersion and everything, I think, and this has only just occurred to me now, just thinking about the two games back to back, Euro '96 feels like you're watching a game on the telly. The presentation on it is great. Skipping through the menus, the graphics, the UI, all very, very slick, very nice, very authentic. And then you've obviously got the commentary as well, which really immerses you. The crowd aren't quite as raucous on Euro '96, are they? Which I think is what takes away some of that immersion. But then it does make it seem more like you're watching a game on the telly than watching a game in the stand. FIFA, on the other hand, despite being that isometric view, it feels like you're sitting in the stands playing that one, because the crowd is so loud. Like when you have a shot and the keeper save, it's like, you're talking about when you miss on Euro '96, it's like, oh, but on FIFA, it's like, ah. it's phenomenal what they do with that Mega Drive sound chip to get that sound on there. It's unbelievable.
Aye.
So
I mean, the kind of crowd effects as well. We always laugh because, and again, I always think like Scottish football grounds. I think one of these things, whenever you watch kind of like Premier League games, it always baffles whenever you watch like kind of big games in the Premier League. Is almost I don't know if it's because of the way Sky present it. I've never been to a Premier League ground for a Premier League game, but the crowd doesn't seem as loud. But like if I think like any like your kind of big Scottish teams or big games like for Rangers have played Celtic or like against Aberdeen or like your big games Hearts and Hibs and stuff like that, but your derbies, it's like if you listen to whenever a chance gets made in a big game, I love that whole initial like all is one inhale before the roar because everybody stand it's in unison as the ball because it's
yeah.
yeah! And then his limbs go everywhere. And
Yeah.
I think FIFA, to be fair, came closer to capturing that kind of that stadium sound, as you said. It feels like you're sitting in that corner of the ground, looking up the pitch
with the guy in the red jumper.
Yeah, the guy in the red jumper, mate. There you go. You know. So I think I've picked my side on this one, mate.
Yeah, go on, mate. Who have you picked for this one?
I think, after a closely fought battle in extra time, FIFA has narrowly taken it for me.
Yeah. When I sized the two up, and as I said before, I picked International Victory Goal over Euro 96. And for this one, I don't think I can not go with FIFA. I think it's the better playing game of the two, which is bizarre when you think about it. This is a FIFA game winning on gameplay without official licenses. I mean, this is upside down world territory, isn't it?
And mate, that's why we wanted to do the draw.
Yeah.
Because we wanted this to be completely random, and that's why rather than just coming in and going, so we've put this game against that game and that game, we had a bit of fun. We had the draw at the start because we wanted to kind of just throw things in the mix, and it's worked because, as you said, we've got a game here, which has become a global phenomenon, an absolute behemoth, which has kind of been bastardised beyond all recognition, really, with microtransactions and each
Ultimate Team.
Aye, I'm going to have a video where I open a pack. It's like, I got 98 Ronaldo. It's like who cares? Kick a ball. It's like, and here we have the most basic entry level FIFA ever, the first ever FIFA, and it's progressing. So
to the final.
To the final, mate. FIFA's in the final.
I will say, mate, we're talking about Euro 96 must have been, 96, wasn't it? It was out in the summer of 96.
Yeah, May 96, yeah.
Yeah. FIFA was, I want to say, September 93. So less than 3 years between the two on one console generation. So that's, as much as we say, as we're talking about the atmosphere and everything between the two games, the technological jump between FIFA and Euro 96 there is pretty spectacular. Now compare FIFA 23 to FIFA 21 that came out on the Xbox One and PS4. It's basically the same game.
Aye. The only time a new FIFA looks like spectacular is when they show you somebody up this close.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, look, you can see the sweat on Mbappe's face. Aye, but when you're playing the game from normal camera, you can't see the sweat in his face. It's like there's no difference in detail.
I think was it last year when they did FIFA 21 or 22 on the next gen systems, and the Digital Foundry guys, obviously they do great work going like into that much detail, but they were getting to the point where they're just talking about the player's hair.
That's right. Alisson had this big quiff.
Yeah.
Like, look at the individual strands of hair on Alisson's head here. It's like, but you can't see it if you're playing.
I know. It's impressive stuff. Don't get me wrong, but compare the jump from the Xbox One PS4 era to the Series X PS5 era to that jump from FIFA 90, the original FIFA to Euro 96 or any of those, that generation. It's unbelievable the jump that was back then. That was truly the definition of a generational leap back then.
Do you remember, was it World Cup 2008 on the Xbox 360? I think Ronaldinho was on the cover, and the big thing was sweat.
Yeah.
Everybody looked like they're walking out for the game starting, and all like sweat's pissing at them. It's like they all look like pure tanned and all glistening. It's like Soul Glow coming to America. It's like,
oh, do you know the last football game I was really impressed with? I remember, and I bought my 360 for it. It was FIFA 07. So I had FIFA 06 on the original Xbox, and this is the thing. I bought my Xbox 360 for FIFA 07 because I wanted a football game. I wanted the latest football game, and I wanted the latest console to play it on. And I think I've told the story before about how I bought it at work and I had to go straight to White Hart Lane to watch Tottenham play. And it was in the back of my car, and we didn't get home until about 11:30 at night. And I cooked it all up, connected it all for the first time. My brother was trying to go to sleep because we were, I don't think we were sharing a room. I think he'd moved downstairs, but I was trying to like, look, son, look at this. Zooming into Jermaine Genius's face. Going, look at him. Look how real he looks. Look how sweaty he is.
I remember as well. Was it FIFA 06 I had on the 360, and I remember obviously Rangers had Dado Purcell. I remember Dado had a big ponytail, big Croatian striker. It was like, he's got his ponytail. But I remember I played online on that. Again, a wee slight tangent here, but I played online on that, and I remember I played against a guy who went Chelsea, and this guy commentated as a fan, right? So we go, yes, here we go, Limps, a Joe Cole, go DDI, right? And he's getting all that. So literally, he went 1-0. No, I went 1-0 up. Peter Lovenkrands scored me, right? So I'm like, just keep cause. So right, Chelsea, keep it cool, Chelsea. We're in this. It's only one. Right? I swear to God, right? He's like talking away in my ear here. This mad Chelsea fan, and he equalises with Drogba. He's like, "Oh, DDI Drogba gets it level against the jocks and all that." He's keen. So it gets to the last minute. And Lovenkrands whips a ball in, big Dado Purcell with a header, and off the other side of the bar. And he's like, fuck off, you do it. So, Rangers couldn't beat Chelsea in the world. He's like, it was amazing. I'm just sitting there like that. Oh, she's amazing. But this guy was proper comedy value. To be fair, he didn't quit. He let the result stand. I thought he was going to rage quit on me, but it was just so funny, mate, that he was just commentating as a punter. So funny. One of my favourite online memories.
So what was that they used to do on Sky? I don't know if they still do it. Is it the fan commentary?
Fan Zone. Aye. That was brilliant comedy. How they never ended up hooking each other at one point, no, isn't it?
Oh god, yeah. Always loved watching the Arsenal fans when they lost. It's like a precursor to Arsenal fan TV. Anyway, that tangent aside, mate, we have a doozy of a semi-final here. Two absolute titans in this semi-final, mate. Sensible Soccer versus Worldwide Soccer 97. I'm not going to be funny. When we first picked out the 8 games, I think these were probably my 2 favourites. Would have loved to see them both in the final, but I suppose that's the randomness of the draw, isn't it?
I love all the football cliches that we've managed to get in here, by the way. The 2 teams who deserve to take their place in the final. Only one can make it.
It's like the hot and cold balls, mate, that they have in the FA Cup draw, which is why Arsenal and Tottenham have never been drawn to play a final in the FA Cup. They've played something like 7 or 8 semi-finals against each other. I mean, the odds just don't stack up. It's definitely a fix.
Well, the thing with this one as well, mate, it's actually eerily similar to the semi-final we just had, we've got, 2 games separated by a console generation.
We have, yeah.
And while World Soccer wasn't a rival to Euro 96, FIFA and Sensible Soccer were very much the proverbial, rivals at that time. So, again, not to kind of do another review of them, because that would just be kind of repeating what we've done already in the previous round. But again, similar kind of conversation to the last one. Worldwide Soccer 97 is a far more advanced 3D game than Euro 96. Sensible Soccer, on the other hand, has probably more quick hit arcade style gameplay compared to FIFA, but doesn't have the level of immersion that FIFA did in terms of realism. So similar tie, but coming at it from 2 very different angles.
Yeah, and the generational jump, I mean, we were talking about just now how the 3 years in one console generation made a massive difference to FIFA to Euro 96. Sensible Soccer, obviously the Amiga original was 92? Maybe 92, even 91?
Yeah. It was 92, pretty sure.
Yeah, obviously it came out a year later on the Mega Drive.
Yep.
And Worldwide Soccer 97 came out in 1996 on the Saturn, but they look like even further apart in terms of their visual makeup. I mean, Worldwide Soccer 97 is much more polished than, at least visually. We talked about the presentation and everything about Euro 96. The actual graphically, and when we're talking frame rate, image quality, and everything like that, not Worldwide Soccer is a noticeable step up. So you've got 2 other ends of the spectrum here. I think it shows again that console divide, how huge it really is at that time. So it's hard to compare these, because unlike FIFA and Euro 96, which had a lot of commonality to them in that they both strive for an authentic simulation style experience, these, I don't think either of these either go for simulation style experiences, but neither of them are quite the same in the way that they attack kind of the gameplay or arcade style offering either, are they? Mm-hmm. They're very different.
I mean, like, if you look at like Victory Goal is like what you would, and obviously Virtua Striker 2, those are bona fide arcade football games.
Yeah.
But Worldwide Soccer 97 and Sensi didn't. They're kind of a middle ground. They are easy enough to pick up and play that they could be looked at as maybe being more arcadey, but they're not as in-depth and complex where you would call them simulation football games.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, both can be picked up and played, but both have a level of depth hidden to them that when you master them, they become even more enjoyable. It's like Sensible Soccer had, some people called it a cheat, but it wasn't easy to pull off. And I don't know if you could do it in the Mega Drive, but you certainly could on the Amiga, and I could only do it with a zip stick. Where, see, if you were losing 1-0, right, or drawing nothing each, and you're in the last minute, see if you could get the ball onto the right-hand touchline where the halfway line meets the touchline.
Yeah.
If you could get right on there and angle your player towards the top left-hand corner as you're looking at it, and hold the shoot button and flick back on the stick, and after touch it, you could actually bend a shot to what, and see if you pulled it off, mate. Oh, scenes. Like if you're playing against a mate and you did this, it was absolute scenes. But it wasn't something you could do every single time. Maybe somebody could, and they might watch this or listen to this and reply and go, I could do it every time. Well, good on you. But there was that kind of wee bit of depth to it. Obviously, you got to know the angles. You could beat certain goalkeepers, and when to add after touch and things like that. And again, like Worldwide Soccer 97 as well. If you wanted to come at it in terms of just slide tackle, kick the ball at the park with big hoofs, and try and get the goalie to parry it and then just knock in the rebound, you could do that. But if you wanted to get the ball down and pass it about, and check back and spray a pass across and play it out wide, put a cross in, go for a header, you could play it realistic as well. So both have a level of depth to them that I think neither FIFA nor Euro 96 actually had. So we just said FIFA had a lot of immersion, but does it have the depth that like a World Wide Soccer 97 does? So it's...
Yeah. I think with both FIFA and Euro 96 and pretty much all modern football games as well, when you're passing it about, it's almost on autopilot because you pass and there will always be someone to latch onto. You hold the stick or the D-pad in any direction in any of these games. You don't lay it off strictly in that direction. You pass it off, it kind of homes in on the nearest player on your team, doesn't it? The funny thing about Worldwide Soccer and Sensi is that neither of them do that. When I was playing Worldwide Soccer the other day, it'd been a while since I played it, and I was shocked when I sprayed a pass. I was like, oh, put that forward. There was no one there. You just playing the ball into no one's. You really, and it's the same for Sensi as well. You really have to think and be aware of where your players are. They're both very easy to pick up and play, but they do not hold your hand to do,
you think stuff. How many times in both Sensi and World Wide Soccer 97, if you knock a ball into space, it becomes like a 50-50.
Yeah,
it's like you end up you run for it and it ends up like a kind of slide tackles coming in and blocks, and you actually need to fight to win back possession from a pass that you've tried to play into space.
Yeah.
So, neither of Euro 96 or FIFA had quite that element of like you played a ball into space because you're trying to be clever. It didn't work, so you need to fight to get it back. So definitely a level of depth to both games.
There is. Now, in terms of content, you probably do have to give the nod to Sensible Soccer. Just the embarrassment of riches when it comes to modes, customization, editability. I mean, obviously, it's got club teams in there as well. As we've said when we were doing the mini review just now, you can edit them all, create your own cups. It's endless. Whereas Worldwide Soccer 97 has a decent amount of content for an international only game, decent selection of teams, and some, it's got as I said, the World League, Worldwide Soccer mode, Worldwide Cup, which is basically the World Cup mode, exhibition, penalty shootouts, all that sort of stuff. But they're very, predetermined, like defined modes. They're extremely well done, but there's not much by the way of customization like you've got with Sensible. So in terms of content, I'd probably have to give the nod to Sensi on that one.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah. Sensi's got an embarrassment of riches when it comes to content, so World Wide Soccer is very much set. As the name suggests, World Wide Soccer, it's an international football game. Sensi having the clubs, as you said, that customizable kind of side of it as well. So I think this isn't going to be quite as cut and dried as the other semi-final, mate.
No, I don't think it is, because on the other hand, stepping away from gameplay, but in terms of not even visuals at this stage, because visuals is slightly unfair because we're talking about a 4th gen versus a 5th gen game. But presentation wise, Sensi does suffer a bit. And obviously, we're talking about the Mega Drive version here. Now, I do love the little tune that plays when you're in the menus.
Well, if it was Sensible World of Soccer,
well, yeah.
And it was the Amiga version, I'm afraid that I'd be picking my winner already, because you're a ghost, I'm a superstar hero.
That's why I was very careful just now to say we are talking about the Mega Drive version.
Yeah, and it's all the Sensible Soccer, which on the Mega Drive was called 92-93, if I remember as well. So it was Sensible Soccer 92-93. There was a cover with Ruud Hullet on it, was there not? I'm sure I can remember that. Was that a European release? I remember seeing that cover. He's in his Holland strip.
I'm not sure. Do you know, I don't remember seeing that. The one I've got, if I just take it out here, is the one with the football one. And this is European Championship Edition.
Right, aye.
And I think that was the update. So the one that you were mentioning there might have been the earlier version. Right. There was the Euro. I don't know what the difference is between the two, because I've only ever played the European Champions Edition. And that was the one that we rented from the video shop back in the day, and that's the one that I've got now. But yeah, it does. Presentation-wise, it suffers a little bit. I do like that tune, as I said, but it's a bit bare bones. The menus are very, even by Amiga standards, they're very basic, aren't they? Like the menus.
It's just coloured rectangles,
it's very big block.
With a cursor around it that goes down. It's nothing, nothing special, mate. It's,
yeah, and I love the worldwide soccer music on there. Worldwide Cup, World League, England versus Germany.
That's right. Worldwide soccer.
Even the sound of selecting stuff.
Aye, that's right. Aye, then ring. It's like, aye. So, the presentation of Worldwide Soccer 97, as we said before, is pretty special. It's a really, really polished game from, intro to title screen to menus, everything through it. It's just, it's before you even kick a ball, you're being entertained by just this lovely, fluid, colourful presentation. So,
yeah.
I can't pick between them, mate. I'm struggling.
Mate, it comes down to gameplay. And, oh God, it's so difficult. They're both quite... Sensible Soccer is definitely the more fluid of the two. The easier to pick up. But Worldwide Soccer, because it's the newer game, it's got slightly more... I don't know if you could say it's more deep, if it's more complex, the way crosses and everything work. You've got so many more options, or at least it feels that way. I don't know, mate. This is a really tough one.
Oh, is it? Hold on, are we? Do you think? Are we going to VAR for this one?
Should we go to VAR? Both of us are undecided.
VAR time.
Right, let's go to VAR. Consult the CVG scores. Italian 90, FIFA International Soccer. Sensible Soccer, with a whopping 94% in CV and G, computer and video games. It's a classic on the Mega Drive. So, what did Worldwide Soccer get? Right, okay. And this is, as we said before, there is a technicality here, and CVNG did switch to the 5-star system. Sega Worldwide Soccer being one such game to get a CVNG high five. So with 100% translation, that means Sega Worldwide Soccer edges out Sensible Soccer to make its way to the SEGAGuys World Cup final.
Oh my word, that's right now there's like probably trash being flung at the screens.
People are throwing their phones while listening to this podcast in disgust.
Wow. Well, I couldn't split them. That was
no.
If you're asking me to pick two football games that I played the most in the 90s and had the most fun with, Sensei and Worldwide Soccer 97 is those two games.
Yeah.
So I think we had to go to VAR, mate. It was
I think so.
No choice.
It's similar for me. I didn't play as much Sensei growing up, but I do appreciate it. And part of me thinks maybe Sensei edges it just a little bit in the gameplay department. But Worldwide Soccer 97 is probably my most played football game of all time. So Hart said Worldwide Soccer. I couldn't pick between them. I had to go. We had to go to VAR, mate, and CMVG with their change in scoring system translating to 100%. Is it an injustice? This is just the way that the cookie crumbles.
Well, mate, that's the thing with VAR. They've drew the lines.
Yeah,
his armpit was onside, mate.
He's given it. He's
pointed to the spot,
and the players can't believe what they've seen. They're surrounding the referee. Protestations everywhere. A few bookings to our listeners that are piping up saying, Sensei, that's sacrilege. How can you not have Sensei in the final? But
well, I have to admit, for a second, I thought it was shaping up to be the classic final, mate. It was FIFA versus Sensible Soccer was shaping up, but VAR's intervened, and there we go.
Yeah. Since it's been 1993 all over again, mate.
Oh, I know. I just been pipped at the post. Pipped at the post. Oh, man. So the final then, it is indeed FIFA International Soccer versus Worldwide Soccer 97. So obviously, again, we don't want to kind of rehash things. So I think the way to possibly handle this final would probably be, in terms of, rather than reviewing the games, maybe talking about what each game meant to us.
Yeah.
Right. And which one, if we could only pick one, that we could, if we were only allowed to play one of these football games again, which one would we go for? So obviously, FIFA, World Soccer 97, games that we've both owned. Obviously, I had it on the Mega Drive with FIFA. You had it on the Amiga. You had it on the Mega Drive. What's the kind of the personal angle on this? And which game immediately do you go to and think emotionally, tying into that kind of nostalgic feel, do you think does it for you the most?
That's a very difficult question. More difficult than it should be when you position it like that. As I said, FIFA International Soccer just felt like I was coming from Italia 90 on the Mega Drive. And at the time, I think we were gearing up for World Cup 94 USA, which was coming the next year. Obviously, that was going to be a World Cup without England, which probably made the tournament a lot more enjoyable from my perspective.
See, World Cup 94 is still my favourite World Cup.
Yeah.
I watched Italia 90, but I have more vivid memories of USA 94. And again, I've told the story in the Game Gear episode. I watched the World Cup final in '94 on a Sega Game Gear. I watched Roberto Baggio miss his penalty for Italy against Brazil on a Sega Game Gear with a TV tuner. So, there's that kind of angle to it. But it's just trying to decide which one has that more emotional hook.
Yeah, so there is a lot of emotion tied to international soccer for me, for FIFA, because from the very beginning, this is so iconic because, and it's quite different to all the other FIFAs. You've got the foosball table that starts off with the sound effects that come off there, and then boom, boom, and it's and those sounds are ingrained in my psyche because it got played so much. 1993, as I say, my brother got it either for Christmas or his birthday, and it was rarely out of the Mega Drive for, there'd be other stuff that would go in, but we'd played football games, but nothing quite like this. And as I say, we had friends over who would, and we'd have huge tournaments with like all with, you could control whichever team you wanted, put a number of us in there. So the hook on there, we didn't get another football game until FIFA 96. So for 2 years, that was our main football game. And we played sensible soccer in between and loved sensible soccer in between. But the tie to FIFA International Soccer is so big, and it's this very, very important defining game for that era for me. It really defines that sort of, as I say, World Cup 94, and it was kind of FIFA 95 came after, which was a definite improvement, but we did get that. So yeah, it's very important to me. But Worldwide Soccer, on the other hand, as I said just now, that's a game, that's probably the football game I played most out of anything. And again, that's three years after FIFA. Got that for Christmas, and my brother did. And that one, again, was the game I most played football game. And unlike FIFA, other football games came and went. There was we played the demo of Euro 96. We played actual soccer, Adidas Power Soccer, ISS 64, all the other games and all the other platforms. And
Adidas
none of them.
Power Soccer, jeez, I remember that and all.
Oh, if you think you put your mind back to 1996, 1997, there were so many football games out there. It was unbelievable. It just seemed like there was just non-stop football games. You had the actual soccers, you had FIFA, you had ISS, you had Worldwide Soccer, you had Adidas Power Soccer, and you had all the weird and wonderful ones. You had that Three Lions game, which was the England game, which is absolute bobbins. What else did you have? If you look up like 1996, 1997 football games, there's so many of them. But for me, none tops Worldwide Soccer 97. So from a personal perspective, I'd probably say Worldwide Soccer 97 edges this out. How about yourself, mate?
I mean, looking at it again, it kind of try to take it on a personal level and which one I've got the most kind of attachment to. With FIFA, it was a case of, again, I got the conversion on the Amiga and I had the big box version of it, which was kind of, I had a fair amount of big box Amiga games, but most of my Amiga games that I got were from the bars in Glasgow. So it was the market. You used to basically go up and it was like a £1 for your first disc and 50 pence for every additional disc. Right? So we do not condone piracy on the Sega Guys Retro Pod. But I had a few big big box games. I had like Monkey Island 2, Shadow the Beast 1 and 2, Turrican 2, Speedball 2, Xenon 2, Alien Breed, Project X, Pinball Dreams. Had a fair few, but majority of my games were acquired through friends at school with the wonders of X Copy and obviously, the barras. And in that regard, I had access to a lot of football games. So, Manchester United in Europe, which I think got a Mega Drive release under a completely different name. Had
got two actually. So European. It was converted to the Mega Drive as European Club Soccer, right. And then it was taken to America on the Genesis as World Championship or World Club Championship Soccer or something along those lines. So it got localized again. So yeah.
Aye. I mean, I had that, I had Kick-Off 2, I had Sensible Soccer, I had Sensible World of Soccer. So there was an abundance of football games on the Amiga. But I didn't really start having like friends over and playing against people until World Soccer 97. And the person that always played World Soccer 97 against the most was always Sam.
Yeah.
The legend that's mentioned on this, my best mate at the time. I'm still one of my good mates just now, and we used to either take my copy of his or else we would come to mine and play it, and there was just so much fun playing those two-player games and just randomly picking teams, either having games where 1 minute you could be kicking lumps at each other, just long balling it, or on the other hand you could have these really technical games that were dead close and you were passing it and trying to really play a proper game of football, and I didn't have that with FIFA. FIFA for me on the Amiga was always like you'd looked at friends who had Mega Drives, and you all know my story about not getting a Mega Drive and getting an ST and Amiga, but I'd seen all the previews in the magazines, I'd seen it on Games Master, and I wanted to play it, and it was great to get it on the Amiga, but maybe it didn't quite have the same feel as it did on the Mega Drive. It was a good port, as I mentioned before, slightly duller colour palette, as I've mentioned before, but it didn't quite have that feel. So if we're going in the final here for emotional hook and nostalgia and what the game means to us personally, then people are going to think this is the biggest Sega Guys fix in the world. The Sega Guys pick a Saturn game to win. Shocker. But it's entwined with that kind of mid to kind of late 90s. Great friendship, great system, great game, great times. I can't pick anything else but Worldwide Soccer 97.
Yeah. And I know you said that, it's predictable that the Sega guys choose the Saturn game, but it's done completely on its own merits. As I said, the view was, I still can't find the article, but the view was that this is inspired, some of the most iconic football games that there are. And, C and VG score, high five. It means, well, it's not a mugs game. It's it's obviously very well regarded, and for both of us, we both have that personal affection for it coming out for our favourite games console. FIFA, as I say, it has got a special place for me. I just looked at the Amiga box art just now. You're saying that you had the big box. I
Yeah,
love that it's got on there, brought to you in association with Adidas Predator, and it's got the Adidas Predator logo on
that's
there as well.
right. That's
Oh,
right.
it's just, I look at that and I think, oh, that is just such a product of its time. That's wonderful.
Aye. But it was great the way that you took the kind of white sleeve cover off, and it was this lovely black box with a kind of texture on it. It was really, really nicely done. A lot of the Amiga big box games, to be fair, were. Again, whenever I moved out, my mum's in 2008, and obviously moved in with my now wife. But I didn't even think to take them with me. I binned them. And apparently, like the Shadow of the Beast 2 box with the T-shirt, I never wore the T-shirt. Apparently that goes for stupid money. I was like, "You're sitting on a gold mine." It's like,
Yeah, I think all the Mega big box stuff goes for silly money now. I mean, I'm looking at
aye.
this. I'm looking at a FIFA box now, and it's going for 25 quid.
It's more than I think we paid for it. We got it for like a tenner, like $9.99, and like Game Zone and Partick or something. It was just, crazy, absolutely crazy. But I mean, I don't know what kind of Turrican 2 and the Shadow of the Beast 2 kind of box sets go for this. I had the one with the T-shirt. I never ever wore the T-shirt. I left it sealed in the box. But I a fair few. But World Wide Soccer '97. It's just there's too much in terms of life attached to that game at that time. So it's not just been picked because of that. It is an absolutely phenomenal football game, and it deserves to win on that merit. But there's just something special about that time that helps kind of just elevate it to champion status.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just it ticks all the boxes for me because graphically it's extremely impressive for the Sega Saturn. You know, when you
Aye.
start it up and you have that, you know, it's introducing the game and it's going around the stadium. You can see the full 3D stadium. Unlike Victory Goal, the players are all fully 3D polygonal players that are extremely well animated. Not the most fluid game these days, but I think it's a solid 30 frames per second. No issue at all with how it plays in that respect. And the gameplay itself is fantastic. You can do so much with it. The presentation, as we said, gorgeous, superb intro, especially the Japanese one. The menus just so slick and so polished. The game modes, we could probably do a whole episode about Worldwide Soccer, mate. But yeah, I think the fact that when it pipped Sensible Soccer in the semi-final, I think we knew which one was going all the way.
Aye. It was the heavyweight favourite started to assert its dominance in the competition.
So, mate, I think that brings us to the end of our Sega Guys World Cup football special. It's been an absolute blast as always, mate. Absolutely loved chatting football games, football banter, and patter on here with you. It's been an absolute joy, mate, and I'm sure I'm hope our listeners enjoyed it as well.
Hope so, mate. It's always great, as we say, because we're talking about these games that came out at certain times, and as we said, we're that old, now that we can sort of tap into some of these tournaments that these games were, brought out on as a kind of backdrop of. So,
yeah.
It's been a blast, mate. Honestly, it's part of the fun of doing this show is that we don't just get to talk about kind of games that we love, but we get to kind of reminisce kind of good times and share memories, and I think that's hopefully a lot of what makes our show kind of what it is and why people tune in is that they get to enjoy a wee bit of banter, a wee bit of games, and just us basically sitting here like two misty idle bastards, basically.
Yeah. Oh, it's just looking at these just now, mate. We've got the entire '90s covered from Italia '90 to Euro 2000. So we've got the beginning and the end of that era. Which is lovely and also makes me kind of sad. Take us back to the '90s.
What an era!
Especially for footy. Great tournaments, iconic shows, iconic players. Oh, brilliant stuff, mate. So over to you, listeners. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you're enjoying the World Cup as it is in progress at the time of that this is being shown. Obviously, it's not in progress at the time of recording, but but it's all in full flight now. What's your favourite football game? Is there any that we've missed out? Are you angered by the injustice of sensible soccer going out in the semi-final? Please get in touch, but don't if you're too angry. We don't want the abuse.
Hi, if you're watching on YouTube, please leave the comments, but keep them respectful. I meant to say, mate, before we started, I know you've got your England shirt on because obviously England are in the World Cup and you'll be hoping that they do well. And, you know, as a friend, I'm hoping that you enjoy the tournament. I don't have a Scotland top, so I found this navy blue T-shirt to try and represent Scotland. You know, I stopped short of a saltire in the background giving it freedom. But, so I hope the tournament goes well for you, mate.
Oh, thank you very much, mate. We'll see. At the time of speaking, we've just had a really poor international period, so I'm not holding up much hope. But first game was today, so I think by the time that this airs on Radio Sega, we'll at least have some sort of idea of how we'll perform. But hope our audience are enjoying the football tournament. And yeah, please get in touch. Let us know your favourite football games. You can catch me at Swooper_D. You can catch James on Twitter at the Segaholic. You can catch us both at SEGAGuys. Until next time, stay retro, stay Sega, and we will see you on the Sega side.
Sega!